There are moments in life when even the most persistent human soul begins to question why effort alone seems unable to bear fruit. You push, strive, chase every opportunity, and yet the harvest never feels proportional to the energy you pour into your dreams. It is in these quiet, frustrated spaces, between effort and emptiness, that the secret paradigm of prosperity reveals itself. Prosperity, contrary to what most have been taught, is not the product of sheer action, but the result of vibrational coherence between what you do and what you truly believe you deserve. Every step, every decision, and every reaction carries a specific energetic signature. This frequency communicates silently with the field of possibilities that surrounds you. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions send mixed messages, the universe mirrors back confusion. When they resonate as one, doors open effortlessly, time bends in your favor, and opportunities find you without struggle. To understand the correct frequency of prosperity, we must first unlearn the cultural myth that exhaustion equals worth. The modern world glorifies burnout as a badge of honor, but spiritual alignment is not achieved through depletion. True abundance comes when effort flows from peace, not pressure, when action emerges as a natural consequence of inner clarity rather than desperation. Think of a farmer who tills the soil endlessly without observing the seasons. No matter how hard he works, without alignment to the rhythm of nature, the harvest will never arrive on time. In the same way, when your inner world resists its natural rhythm, no external force can produce sustainable prosperity. This video is a journey into that realization, a reorientation from doing to being. It will reveal how frequency, mindset, and embodied emotion determine the yield of your actions. Through this exploration, you will learn to stop fighting the invisible currents of life and start sailing with them. By the end, you will understand that prosperity is not earned by force. It is invited through coherence. Once you learn to hold the right vibration, every effort you make multiplies naturally, transforming raw labor into a bountiful harvest that continues to grow even in stillness. Every human being who has ever longed for prosperity has at some point faced the painful paradox of wanting abundance while unconsciously vibrating scarcity. This inner conflict is not a sign of failure, but a reflection of conditioning that began long before awareness awakened. Most people grow up in an environment where effort is glorified and ease is distrusted. You are taught that success requires relentless struggle, that comfort is laziness, and that rest is a luxury reserved for the fortunate. Over time, these beliefs become emotional imprints stored in the body. Even when the mind declares, "I am ready to receive," the nervous system whispers, "It's not safe to relax." The body holds its breath at the idea of prosperity, associating it with loss, exposure, or even guilt. Thus, the individual continues to act, to plan, and to chase, yet each movement is burdened with the vibration of defense rather than creation. This hidden misalignment is not about greed or lack of discipline, it is about safety. The subconscious does not chase wealth, it chases familiarity. When scarcity feels familiar, abundance appears threatening. That is why many talented, capable, and compassionate people spend years in cycles of exhaustion, because on a deeper level, they equate peace with vulnerability. It is difficult to expand when the body is convinced that expansion is dangerous. The spiritual journey toward prosperity is therefore not about learning new techniques, but about unlearning fear-based reflexes. The key lies in teaching the nervous system that abundance does not mean exposure, it means harmony. Imagine for a moment that life is a vast field of frequencies. Every thought emits a signal, every feeling carries a tone, every action leaves an imprint. The universe does not respond to your words, it responds to your vibration. When your frequency is consistent with lack, when your emotions even subtly hum with worry or urgency, the signal you send into the field is, "I am not safe yet." The field, which is neutral and responsive, mirrors that state by withholding the very things you believe you need to feel secure. But when you stabilize your internal rhythm, when gratitude replaces fear and clarity replaces confusion, your energy shifts from contraction to expansion. The field immediately reorganizes around that new vibration, aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities to match it. This is the essence of the correct frequency. It is not an abstract spiritual law, but a lived state of coherence. when thought, emotion, and action are synchronized. In this state, effort is not erased, it becomes elegant. Work still exists, but it flows through you rather than against you. You make decisions that conserve energy instead of scattering it. Conversations unfold with ease because your energy no longer leaks through anxiety or the need for validation. The harvest of life, money, opportunities, inspiration, arrives not as a reward for struggle but as a reflection of inner alignment. To reach this level of coherence, it is necessary to slow down the internal noise long enough to hear the subtle language of the body. Prosperity begins where tension ends. Many attempt to visualize abundance while their muscles tighten, their breathing shortens, and their hearts race. They do not realize that the body's physiology contradicts the intention. The subconscious interprets that tension as danger and immediately cancels the command to expand. This is why true manifestation requires presence, not pressure. The breath becomes the bridge between the visible and invisible worlds. Through deep, rhythmic breathing, the nervous system begins to trust again, signaling to the universe that receiving is safe. It is often in stillness that the paradigm begins to change. When you stop striving to prove your worth and start allowing your natural rhythm to lead, a quiet strength emerges. Prosperity ceases to be a goal and becomes a frequency you inhabit. You stop measuring success by external markers and start recognizing it in internal harmony. The mind, once preoccupied with comparison, learns to rest in gratitude. The heart, once burdened by urgency, learns to beat in rhythm with patience. This shift is not poetic idealism, it is energetic physics. A coherent heart emits a measurable electromagnetic field that influences the space around it. People feel it when they are near you. Calm, clarity, and trust. These qualities attract collaboration, support, and resources far more effectively than any forced effort. Yet the old paradigm resists change. The ego, built upon identity and history, clings to struggle as proof of virtue. It fears that letting go of tension means losing control. But what it cannot see is that control was always an illusion. Prosperity does not obey force, it responds to openness. The universe is not a marketplace of competition, but a field of resonance. When your frequency aligns with peace, you stop competing and begin harmonizing. From this harmony, everything you once chased begins to gravitate toward you naturally, drawn by the magnetism of coherence. Consider how nature operates. No tree rushes to grow, no river argues with gravity. Everything expands through obedience to its own rhythm. The same law governs human prosperity. When you align with the rhythm of your inner universe, your actions become timely and efficient. You send messages, make decisions, and pursue goals not out of desperation, but out of inspiration. The results compound effortlessly because each movement is sustained by clarity rather than anxiety. This is why some individuals seem to accomplish so much with apparent ease. They have learned the invisible art of alignment. The path to mastering this art begins with awareness. Notice the sensations in your body when you think about wealth or success. Do you feel light or heavy, relaxed or tense, safe or exposed? These signals reveal whether your vibration supports or resists prosperity. There is no need for judgment, only observation. With gentle consistency, begin to associate abundance with calmness, not chaos. Anchor this new pattern through small daily rituals, a few minutes of still breathing before starting work, expressing gratitude for what already flows, or performing one intentional act that feels generous rather than obligatory. These micro-alignments accumulate, gradually transforming the field of your reality. In this transformation, you will discover that prosperity is less about attracting and more about allowing. What you seek is already moving toward you, but it can only enter when your energetic doorway is open. The correct frequency is the vibration of receptivity, neither passive nor aggressive, but attuned. As this state becomes familiar, effort ceases to be raw labor. It turns into creative collaboration with life itself. Each action you take, no matter how small, carries the weight of clarity and the lightness of trust. The harvest, then, is not delayed. It unfolds in its divine timing, abundant and precise, responding to the steady rhythm of your coherent being. Through this understanding, the hidden misalignment dissolves. The struggle to prove, to chase, to control fades into stillness. What remains is a profound partnership with existence, the knowing that every breath, every thought, and every gesture is already part of the abundant field you were born to experience. In that awareness, prosperity stops being a distant dream and becomes your natural state of being. There is a profound difference between the person who works to control life and the one who learns to cooperate with it. The first is trapped in the rhythm of urgency, always running ahead of time, afraid of being left behind. The second moves within a rhythm that feels eternal, a pulse that does not chase outcomes because it knows creation unfolds through permission, not pressure. This subtle yet powerful transition from control to cooperation is where the science of stillness emerges. Stillness, contrary to misunderstanding, is not idleness. It is the state in which your internal vibration becomes steady enough to hold the weight of the abundance you seek. It is the sacred pause between intention and manifestation where alignment takes shape. In this space, the energy of allowing begins to breathe through your life. To allow is to trust the unseen architecture that supports all creation. When you align with that architecture, your thoughts stop fighting against themselves, and your emotions cease to contradict your desires. The body no longer sends mixed signals of fear and hope. You become internally synchronized, and that synchronization creates coherence, the most magnetic state of being a human can achieve. In this coherence, you do not need to demand results. Results become a natural continuation of your internal order. This is why those who live with trust seem to move through life with a kind of effortless timing. They are not luckier than others. They are aligned with the rhythm that governs the invisible mechanisms of manifestation. Stillness is not achieved by withdrawing from life, but by being completely present within it. Most people try to escape discomfort by filling their schedules, numbing their emotions, or chasing distractions disguised as productivity. Yet the discomfort they flee is the doorway to transformation. Within silence, you meet yourself beyond identity, beyond striving, beyond the need to prove. That meeting can feel frightening because it strips away the illusions that kept you busy. But it is also profoundly liberating because in that emptiness you rediscover that you were never lacking, only disconnected from your source. The energy of allowing does not come from willpower but from surrender, from the deep knowing that life is intelligent enough to move even without your interference. At a physiological level, stillness alters the chemistry of the body. When you calm the mind, your heart rhythm becomes more coherent, and that coherence sends a signal through the electromagnetic field surrounding you. The field responds by reorganizing your environment to match your internal state. In this way, your calm becomes creative, your peace becomes productive. The outer world adjusts to the vibration of your inner equilibrium. This is not poetic symbolism, it is energetic reciprocity. You are an instrument in the symphony of existence, and when you tune yourself correctly, the entire composition harmonizes around you. The challenge, however, lies in trusting the unseen. The human ego is conditioned to measure progress by visible results. When nothing seems to happen, it panics. It demands proof, validation, evidence. Yet the most powerful transformations occur in silence, beneath the surface of awareness. Seeds sprout in darkness before they break through the soil. In the same way, your desires begin to crystallize in the invisible realm long before they become tangible. Impatience interrupts this process by constantly digging up the soil to check if the seed is growing. Allowing means protecting that seed with faith, even when your eyes see no change. It means holding a steady vibration long enough for the universe to align all necessary elements in your favor. In a world that glorifies speed, patience has become a revolutionary act. To wait with faith is to stand against the culture of fear that insists everything must happen now. Prosperity responds not to haste but to readiness. When your energy is prepared, when you have cleared resistance, balanced emotion, and aligned thought, opportunities appear with astonishing precision. They seem sudden to the observer, but they are the inevitable result of months or years of vibrational cultivation. The person who practices stillness becomes a silent magnet for abundance because their energy no longer pushes against the flow of life, it moves with it. Allowing also means releasing the need to know how everything will unfold. The mind seeks logic. The universe responds to resonance. Logic is linear, but manifestation is holographic. It happens in multiple directions at once. When you fixate on one path, You may block the unexpected route through which prosperity intends to reach you. Allowing keeps you flexible. It teaches you to remain open to the miraculous ways in which life reorganizes itself around your frequency. Often, the outcome that finally arrives is better than what you initially imagined, because it aligns not only with your desire, but also with your evolution. The universe does not just fulfill wishes, it fulfills the version of you that can sustain them. Stillness invites this evolution naturally. It refines the vibration of your desires. Many people manifest from lack. They ask for money to escape fear, for love to escape loneliness, for success to escape doubt. The frequency beneath these desires is resistance, not expansion. But when you dwell in stillness, the fear dissolves and the request transforms. You begin to ask not from deficiency, but from abundance. Instead of saying, "I want to escape," you declare, "I am ready to express." This shift seems subtle, but energetically it changes everything. The first vibration pushes, the second allows, the first contracts, the second expands, and the universe, ever responsive, amplifies whichever tone you send. To live within this science of stillness does not mean withdrawing from ambition. It means anchoring ambition in alignment. You continue to act, create, and strive, but now your actions are informed by peace rather than panic. You wake up not to fight the day, but to collaborate with it. The mind becomes your ally instead of your master. Each breath reconnects you with the intelligence that sustains galaxies and grows flowers without instruction. When you remember that same intelligence flows through your veins, striving loses its grip. You no longer chase prosperity, you embody it. In this embodiment, you discover that abundance was never external. It was always the natural state of a coherent being, someone who remembers that they are both participant and creator within the vast rhythm of existence. As stillness deepens, gratitude arises spontaneously, not as a practice but as a recognition. Everything is already given. The energy of allowing completes its circle, and prosperity becomes a reflection of the peace you have cultivated within. In the end, the science of stillness teaches a truth that defies the logic of the frantic world. The more deeply you rest in trust, the more the universe works on your behalf. You are not rewarded for effort alone, but for coherence, for the grace of allowing life to unfold through you, as you and for you. When that realization takes root, every action becomes sacred, every pause becomes potent, and every harvest arrives with quiet perfection, right on time. Within every human mind lives a constant conversation, a rhythm of words, thoughts, and emotions that never truly stops. This internal dialogue is the most intimate sound of existence, and it silently constructs the reality you experience. What many never realize is that prosperity is born not from external strategy, but from this invisible language that shapes your relationship with life itself. The way you speak to yourself determines how you vibrate, and how you vibrate determines what life echoes back. Your words, both spoken and unspoken, are frequencies that either invite or repel abundance. They are not mere expressions, they are energetic instructions whispered into the field of creation. Most people speak to themselves through the voice of fear. They narrate life as if everything valuable is just out of reach. This inner voice repeats inherited beliefs, stories absorbed from parents, culture, religion, and past pain, until they sound like truth. Money is difficult to earn. Success belongs to others. I always have to struggle. These phrases become mantras of limitation, spoken so often that the subconscious accepts them as laws. Over time, they shape a person's emotional reality, magnetizing circumstances that confirm those beliefs. Prosperity cannot root itself in soil constantly watered by self-doubt. The words you use within your own mind create an atmosphere that either nurtures or withers your potential. To awaken prosperity, you must first become fluent in the language of allowance. This does not mean denying the existence of struggle or pretending everything is perfect. It means shifting the tone from self-punishment to self-partnership. When you begin to speak to yourself with compassion, your frequency changes immediately. The nervous system relaxes, the heart rhythm softens, and the field around you expands. You move from contraction into openness, and that openness becomes the vessel through which abundance flows. The universe responds not to need, but to resonance. When your words and emotions align with trust, The entire energetic ecosystem of your life rearranges itself to support you. The transformation begins with awareness. Listen to your inner language as you move through the day. Notice the subtle phrases that slip out when you face a challenge, those small sighs of resignation or sarcasm that sound harmless but carry the vibration of defeat. They reveal where scarcity still hides in your frequency. Awareness alone begins the purification process, because what is observed loses power. Once you hear the patterns, you can choose to replace them not with forced affirmations but with grounded truth. Instead of "I never have enough," you might feel into "I am learning to receive with ease." Instead of "I'm always behind," you can breathe into "I am aligning with perfect timing." These statements carry emotional coherence. They do not demand perfection, they invite transformation. The body plays a crucial role in this linguistic reprogramming. Every thought generates a chemical response that affects how energy moves through your system. Negative self-talk floods the body with cortisol and adrenaline, preparing it for defense rather than creation. Supportive self-talk, however, releases oxytocin and dopamine, the biochemical signature of trust. This is not simply psychology, it is physiology aligned with spirituality. Your biology listens to your language, and when your words communicate safety, the body relaxes enough to receive inspiration. In that state, you begin to perceive opportunities that were invisible before, not because they suddenly appeared, but because fear no longer filters them out. The power of inner dialogue also extends to how you interpret external events. When something unexpected occurs, a delay, a rejection, a silence, the untrained mind immediately labels it as loss. But the language of prosperity translates everything through curiosity rather than condemnation. It whispers, "What lesson of alignment hides here?" Or, "What is this redirecting me toward?" This shift in interpretation is crucial because it determines whether you spiral into resistance or remain open to divine orchestration. Prosperity does not vanish during challenges. It disguises itself as redirection. By maintaining coherence in language and emotion, you keep the channel open for unseen blessings to enter. True mastery of this language emerges when you no longer use words merely to describe your reality, but to sculpt it. You begin to speak from the state you wish to sustain, not from the state you are trying to escape. Instead of reacting to scarcity, you express gratitude as if abundance were already here, because energetically it is. Gratitude calibrates your frequency to receptivity. Each time you acknowledge what is working, no matter how small, you amplify that energy. Life interprets your gratitude as a signal to send more experiences that match it. In this way, the words "thank you" become a spiritual command, calling forth prosperity through appreciation rather than demand. The language of prosperity is also the language of inclusion. It refuses to separate you from your desires. Many people speak as though abundance belongs somewhere outside of themselves, something to be chased or earned. But your words can bridge that illusion of distance. When you shift from "I want" to "I am becoming," you close the gap between the seeker and the sought. The energy begins to merge. You embody what you desire instead of yearning for it. This embodiment turns vibration into magnetism. The universe cannot resist a being who already lives the truth of what they wish to attract. It is important to remember that this practice is not about perfection. Old patterns may resurface, especially under stress, but each recognition becomes an invitation to return to coherence. Speak gently to yourself, even when you notice fear. Treat the moment of relapse as evidence of awareness, not failure. Over time, compassion replaces criticism, and self-trust becomes your native language. When that happens, prosperity flows naturally, because your inner and outer worlds finally speak the same dialect. In the quiet moments of reflection, you may realize that this language is not something you are learning for the first time. It is something you are remembering. Long before doubt was taught to you, your soul already knew how to communicate with the universe. It spoke through emotion, intuition, and presence. The process of reclaiming prosperity is therefore a homecoming to that original voice, the one that says, "You are worthy, you are supported, you are infinite." When those words resonate through your being, they no longer feel like affirmations, they feel like truth. And truth, when spoken consistently from the heart, becomes the most powerful vibration of all. As you continue to live in awareness of your inner dialogue, a subtle miracle begins to unfold. Life mirrors your renewed language with precision. Conversations open new paths, unexpected offers appear, relationships become cooperative instead of competitive. The world does not change separately from you. It reflects your inner coherence. Every sentence you form becomes a brushstroke painting the reality you inhabit. When that language vibrates with gratitude, clarity, and trust, the masterpiece that emerges is prosperity itself, alive, abundant, and unmistakably yours. There comes a moment in every spiritual journey when stillness must evolve into motion. Prosperity is not a theory waiting to be understood, it is a rhythm waiting to be lived. The challenge for many seekers is that they mistake movement for progress. They believe that busyness proves worth, that constant effort ensures growth, and that stopping even for a breath means losing ground. Yet in truth, action without alignment is noise without melody. It consumes energy, but produces no harmony. The rhythm of action begins when movement arises from coherence, when every step vibrates in sync with the intention that inspired it. In that state, the universe collaborates with your momentum instead of resisting it. The art of alignment teaches that timing is as essential as effort. Just as an ocean tide does not force itself to rise, aligned action emerges naturally when internal readiness meets external opportunity. The old paradigm insists on pushing, sending messages, forcing outcomes, chasing recognition. The new paradigm listens first. It waits for resonance. When energy and purpose converge, the next action feels inevitable, not exhausting. This is not passivity, it is precision. It is the awareness that when you move from clarity, a single step achieves what 100 forced actions never could. Life unfolds through rhythm, and prosperity rewards those who learn to hear its subtle tempo. In this rhythm, preparation becomes sacred. Every morning before engaging with the outer world, the aligned mind calibrates itself. This calibration is not a ritual of superstition, but of presence. It is the acknowledgement that the quality of the first thoughts you entertain sets the tone for everything that follows. The mind is a tuning fork. When it vibrates in gratitude and purpose, it attracts experiences that harmonize with those frequencies. Alignment, therefore, is not an event. It is a continuous act of attunement. Each breath is a chance to return to center. Each decision is an opportunity to confirm your coherence. The distinction between aligned and misaligned action is subtle but unmistakable. Misaligned action feels rushed, heavy, and uncertain. It is driven by fear of missing out or the need to prove something. Aligned action feels light yet powerful. It is guided by inspiration rather than desperation. When your inner rhythm matches the rhythm of universal intelligence, obstacles no longer appear as threats, but as signals of recalibration. A delay may not be punishment, it may be protection. A rejection may not be loss, it may be redirection. The aligned individual interprets these fluctuations not as failures, but as movements within a larger symphony they have learned to trust. At its core, alignment is cooperation between logic and intuition. Logic ensures direction, intuition ensures timing. Logic builds the plan, intuition senses the current. When both operate together, the result is effortless momentum. You act decisively, but without strain. You plan with focus, but remain open to spontaneous guidance. Prosperity thrives in this balance because it recognizes both structure and surrender. Too much structure suffocates, too much surrender dissipates. Alignment fuses them into harmony, where every action becomes both grounded and inspired. The energy of aligned action also transforms your relationship with work. In the traditional mindset, work is a transaction, energy exchanged for reward. But in alignment, work becomes an extension of consciousness. Each task, no matter how simple, becomes a meditation on creation. You no longer labor to reach prosperity, you express prosperity through your labor. The distinction is profound. When you act from lack, effort drains you. When you act from fullness, effort energizes you. In this state, creativity flows effortlessly, relationships flourish, and time itself seems to bend to your purpose. Hours pass without fatigue because you are moving with the current, not against it. This rhythm of action extends beyond personal goals. It influences how you engage with others. When you act from alignment, your presence carries stability. People feel safe in your energy because it is consistent. Opportunities arise through genuine resonance, rather than manipulation or force. Aligned individuals naturally attract collaborators, mentors, and allies who share their frequency. This collective coherence amplifies results, creating networks that function not through competition, but through mutual elevation. Prosperity multiplies because the energy behind it is shared abundance, not scarcity disguised as ambition. The art of alignment also teaches the sacred principle of pause. Every great composition includes silence. Without it, music becomes chaos. In the same way, life requires intervals of rest for its melody to make sense. These pauses are not interruptions, they are integrations. After every significant action, stillness allows the energy you released to ripple outward and return multiplied. Without pause, momentum becomes erosion. The body burns out, the mind dulls, and the spirit loses clarity. In the rhythm of aligned living, rest is not optional. It is a strategic act of respect for the laws of creation. To embody this rhythm fully, you must learn to read your energy like a language. Notice when enthusiasm flows and when resistance arises. Enthusiasm signals alignment, resistance signals misdirection. Forcing action in resistance is like rowing upstream. It exhausts without progress. Waiting for enthusiasm is not laziness, it is wisdom. When energy reactivates, movement becomes exponential. The aligned creator understands that the universe does not reward speed, it rewards resonance. In the vast symphony of existence, you are both musician and instrument. Every thought is a note, every emotion a tone, every action a rhythm that contributes to the greater harmony of life. Alignment means tuning your instrument daily, ensuring that your vibration supports the melody you wish to play. It is remembering that prosperity is not composed of isolated achievements, but of consistent resonance. When your rhythm stabilizes, prosperity becomes inevitable because you are no longer chasing success, you are embodying it. The rhythm of action and the art of alignment reveal the ultimate secret of the abundant life. That creation is not a fight, but a flow. It is not about doing more. It is about doing with intention. Each step taken in harmony with your frequency multiplies its impact. Each pause chosen with wisdom magnifies its effect. When you live in this rhythm, life ceases to feel like a series of battles and begins to feel like a continuous dance, a collaboration between your human will and the divine intelligence that orchestrates all things. In that dance, effort becomes elegance and the harvest arrives not as a surprise, but as the natural result of perfect timing and unwavering trust. As this journey draws to a close, it becomes clear that prosperity has never been about luck, privilege, or relentless effort. It is a rhythm, a sacred dance between energy, thought, and faith. When the mind stops fighting time and the heart stops fearing its own power, life begins to unfold in ways that defy logic, yet feel perfectly natural. The paradigm of abundance is not something you achieve, it is something you remember. Beneath every doubt and every struggle lies a steady pulse, the frequency of creation, that has always been waiting for you to listen. The moment you return to that inner rhythm, you no longer chase prosperity. You become its expression. Every breath, every decision, every silence becomes part of a larger symphony composed by your coherence. The field of life does not respond to effort alone. It mirrors vibration. When you radiate clarity, the world organizes itself around your peace. When you act from trust instead of tension, circumstances that once resisted you begin to cooperate effortlessly. This is the secret of the abundant heart. It magnetizes not because it demands, but because it allows. Prosperity flows towards stillness, generosity, and certainty. It moves wherever there is no resistance. You are no longer required to prove your worth through exhaustion. You are invited to live from the quiet power of alignment. The harvest will not come through struggle. It will bloom through presence. The universe has always been conspiring to meet you at the frequency of your truth. When you stay in coherence long enough, what once felt impossible becomes inevitable. The effort you once called work transforms into joy, and the life you once chased begins to chase you. This is the true freedom prosperity was always meant to give. The freedom to live as the creator, not the competitor, of your reality. Before you leave this space, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what kind of life could unfold if you stopped forcing outcomes and started trusting your own frequency. That single question holds the doorway to everything you've ever sought. If this message has resonated with you, consider subscribing to this channel and becoming part of a community that believes in conscious creation and spiritual prosperity. Continue watching the video appearing on your screen now. It is the next step in deepening your connection with the energy that turns intention into manifestation. Let the journey continue and let your vibration lead the way.